What's up, y'all? Welcome in. There it is. I say my thing isn't working for some reason, but we're good. Welcome on in. It is 3:02 on August 13th, 2026, and we have a great show for you guys today. We're going to jump into a little bit of footy action. We got Premier League kicking off next week. So we'll do a Premier League preview. I'll break down each individual team, where I think they're going to land, maybe do a little predictions. I know the transfer market's still going on, and that could change real quickly. But we're going to get into it. Then we got a little bit of NFL news, followed by a little bit of MLB, NBA, Russell Westbrook retiring. We'll do a little bit of recap on him doing that. And then to wrap things up, I don't know, I'm still like debating on whether or not I want to do it. I got a little front page action about my previous company. They've been in the news quite a bit, and I just want to give a perspective on maybe, we'll see if I go to it or not, but a perspective of somebody that was there from the start through the IPO and give everybody a little bit of something to chew on. But anyways, let's get things into it. Let me get the right music on. Let's see, is that too loud? How are we doing there? That's a little loud. So let me move it down here. Is that good? Where we at? That seems pretty good, right? Hopefully it's not too overpowering for anybody in. What's up, Ari? Welcome on in. Anyways, let's get things started with, like I always do, the best thing we saw since last week. Or since last show, and it was the eclipse, guys. It really was. I got on the feed there, I got a line, skated the eclipse. What actually it was Danny Leon, a skateboarder, basically took advantage of this eclipse yesterday. Really one of the coolest things that I saw since, I don't know, before the eclipse. I mean, eclipses are cool and all, whatever. They come, I don't know, like every fucking, it feels like there's like something like an eclipse every year or so, but then I read that it's like the next one's not till like 2048 or some shit. Now I'm reading that like in Florida we might have like 7 minutes of darkness 20 years from now. I don't know. Anyways, but shout out Danny Leon. This is one of the coolest things I saw this week. Let's let the ride. Look at that shit. Just sick. So sick. What a creative way. All I can think about is like, how did they know the lighting was going to work, right? Like, that's just my dumb content brain for you right there. It's like the only thing that I can think of in this entire moment is like, how did they know that the lighting was going to work? It's fucking stupid. I know. But coolest, that was definitely the coolest thing I saw since last episode. Welcome on in, guys. Welcome on in. But let's get into the main topic of discussion, which is going to be our footy news. Let's move us over to the back page. Let me get my transitions going right. There we go. So as always, we start things off here in the back page simply because, listen, we're a live newspaper, satirical at heart. We do a front page and back page. Front page being your top news, your trending stories, things like that. Your back page is going to be your sports and everything. But if you're like me and you go up to the newsstand, you're picking up, you're looking at the back page. So we always start with the back page. So let's get on into it. PSG winning yesterday in the Super Cup. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. That's really fucking zoomed in. But PSG winning yesterday in the Super Cup final. Now, if you don't know what the Super Cup is, it's basically the winner of the Europa Cup and the winner of the Champions League face off before the season. And again, it's kind of like they take it seriously, but it's kind of like a glorified friendly. It's kind of like what we're going to get with the Community Shield this weekend, which is Man City versus Arsenal. The teams take it seriously. They celebrate, with lifting the trophy, if you will. But when it comes down to it, if you're going to argue with a friend on fucking Reddit or Twitter or wherever you're arguing with your favorite people do not consider this like a serious trophy by any means. But I'll tell you what, it's footy and we're fucking desperate for it. I'm desperate for it. So it's good to see some actual quality football yesterday. We had a couple friendlies going off. We have Europa Conference League going off right now. And we have, obviously, the Champions League qualifications as well. So there's a lot of decent football coming in. So nice to see this getting going. We finally made it, guys. This weekend we actually get good quality football, and then after that we're back. We're fully back. But yeah, 2-1 to PSG. Kvaratskhelia opened the score up with a great goal, followed by a Desiree Doué winner in the 61st minute. Had a bit of a lengthy delay there, which I think everybody thought it was offsides, and Matty Cash ended up playing him on. So, shitty result for Villa. But to be honest, I'm really impressed with how they performed. Obviously, PSG coming on is probably if not the best team, one of the best teams in Europe. And then you have Villa, who's been kind of decimated. They lost Morgan Rogers. They lost Tielemans. They bring in a couple guys, but it was nice to see them perform so well against PSG, honestly. I said it in my preview yesterday, and I'll get into the preview in a little bit, but the little short-form video I did yesterday. Appreciate the love, Jean Don. I said it, but I actually think Unai Emery is going to get this team playing on a different level. And, you saw when they sold Jack Grealish, everybody thought they were going to be cannon fodder after that, and they're a better team. Obviously, I think they're a little upset they lost Tielemans because it was more of like a contractual thing where Man United forced the sale to them. But you still got a really good team, and I really think Buendia is going to dominate the midfield for them, and really, I think you'll see them do well in Europe. I think you'll see them probably qualify for Champions League this year, and I think they'll actually give Man City, Arsenal a nice little run. I do think Arsenal run away with it. Sorry, no water, guys. I do think Arsenal run away with it when it's all said and done. But I really like what Villa's doing. I really like how they're performing, and it's just good to see. So PSG, I guess, officially chasing 6 trophies, kind of. Not really. I don't know. 4 trophies at least. Kind of a wash, the Super Cup trophy, but I'm still a fan, and I'm still happy what I saw yesterday out of Villa, and I think Villa fans should be happy, maybe going into this game a little precautious. But let's get into what we want to do, which is a proper it's a tiny logo. Zoom that way in. There you go. We're going to do a proper Premier League preview. I'll do the other leagues too, but obviously the Prem is what we follow the most. And it's, one of the more it's probably the most competitive. It is the most competitive league in the world. 1 through 20 can beat each other. Obviously, last year you had Arsenal losing to literally the 20th team is a huge fucking deal, which that just doesn't happen really in most other leagues, right? So very strong parity, and you're in this kind of transitional phase in the Prem where you only have one Premier League winning coach, and that oh shit, I forgot to do something, guys. One sec. Look. It's all right. Bad radio. Bear with me for a second. Bad radio. We're good. We're back. All right. So, Prem's it's kind of been a transition phase for the Prem. I'm really excited to see. Welcome on in, guys. Welcome on in, Tina. I really excited to see what this season turns out to. You only got Mikel Arteta is the only Premier League winning coach. I think you only have 5 or 6 European winning coaches, so coaches that have won some type of title in Europe at some point in time. But I think you're going to have a really great season on our hand because of this parity, because of this transitional phase. And obviously, as an Arsenal fan, Pep leaving is it's music to my ears. And it sounds like Rodri might be leaving with him, or not with him, but to Barcelona. We'll check on that one towards the end of the episode. This is something that's moving by the day. But if the transfer window stays where it's at, I'm really liking Arsenal's chances. But obviously, Barcola going to Liverpool would change things. Rodri staying at City would change things. Enzo Fernandez going to City would change things. So there's a lot of things that can kind of go in and out in between until September 1st, which is the transfer window when it ends. But just a real quick on that, just so for any of my fans that are new here, because we have so many new people from the World Cup, honestly. But the transfer window is basically, there's no draft in these leagues, so players can transfer from team to team very easily, or not necessarily really easily, but players can be bought from teams. So when I'm talking about Enzo Fernandez going to Man City from Chelsea, this is them paying $120 million, or presumably $120 million to Chelsea in exchange for that player. So there's no draft. It's a little bit different. A lot of these players get homegrown and are built through the systems. Like Bukayo Saka has played for Arsenal since he was 8 years old. He's now their talisman, stalwart player who's really helped carry them to a title last season. So it's a bit different than what you're used to in America, but still really, really cool to say the least. How the Prem works, it's really simple. It's 20 teams, right? 20 teams, each play each other twice. Once home, once away. That's it. Right? 38 games, a win's worth 3 points, a tie's worth 1 point, a loss is worth nothing. At the end of the season, the person that has the most points wins the cup. There's no tournament, there's no playoffs. I know that's weird to Americans, but it doesn't exist. It's very different than what we're traditionally used to. But what does that do? It makes it so every game has that same playoff atmosphere. If you were to go to an MLS game right now in the regular season, you'd go and nobody would care. Like it has this, like, we'll talk about it later with some guys that were kind of shitting on the MLS, but it has this like lackadaisical feel that there's not really any seriousness to it. When it's the Prem and it's any game that they're playing in, it is intense. It's a fight. There's cards everywhere. The crowd's into it. Every moment matters. And because it really comes down to the last couple points. Last year Arsenal won by 2 points, right? So as you can imagine, if they'd had one of their wins turn into a draw, they ended up in second and City wins the title. So with that, you get a lot of intensity, and it's all year long. So it starts in August, ends in May. You have a full entire year of intensity. So it's really, really fucking awesome, to say the least. But let's get into it. The actual team-by-team predictions. I'm going to start top up, and I'll give you guys my little preview right there so you guys know where we're working from. I kind of worked on this. I did the little, dial thing where you pick on TikTok, and that did kind of well. But I wanted to actually sit down and draw out where I thought each team would land. I think some of this can obviously change with transfer window changes. Obviously, different news is coming in and out. But this is what I'm thinking the Prem ends at, and we'll go through team by team. At the bottom of the Prem, most likely getting relegated. I mean, to be honest, I don't see there's any way this team doesn't get relegated. The other two are Coventry City and Ipswich are a little different, but Hull City, they've brought in Zolakis for £20 million. They lost Pandar. They're easily the weakest squad on paper. There's really not much to say about them other than the fact that they're basically a unanimous pick to be relegated. So Hull City, you would love to see them do what Ipswich Town and what Coventry City are doing, which is actually spending a little bit of money and bringing in some talent and filling out the roster, right? The Prem is a very intense week-over-week battle, and so you have Ipswich bringing in Emerson for 26 mil, Fatoa for 20 mil, Maeda for 8 mil. Didn't really have too many, exits out of the team. Nobody really that important, at least. And they're kind of spending in the way that Sunderland did when they came up. And now you see Sunderland's playing in Europe next year. So it's, Sunderland really wrote the script on what this should look like, right? And then Coventry City, my mom's hometown, Frank Lampard's squad. I'm hoping, I do actually think there is a chance that they do move out of this relegation zone. Simply because I haven't seen Leeds really do too much. I think Sunderland will struggle playing in Europe, and they've lost a few players. You also got Forest. I mean, Glasner's going to get them firing, and they brought in Diamande, but they lost Elliot Anderson, right? So big exits on some other teams, but as you can see, even when we're getting into this, just picking these bottom three teams, it's really hard to even get any of these newly promoted sides staying up. Seems like it's gonna be really difficult for them to do that. And you've seen it time and time again, basically the same other than last season, but for like 3 seasons in a row, the teams that went up were the teams that went back down. So there is a level of competition that the Prem offers that is really, really, really difficult to succeed in. So Coventry City, I'm gonna put them at 18. I'm hoping Frank Lampard's squad actually sticks through it and we get them. I mean, I would love to see them just like really compete. I think Coventry City has some of the best jerseys in the Prem. I mean, I'll show you. Look at these jerseys, guys. I mean, come on. Fuck Man City. This is where it's at, guys. Look at that shit. That is the cleanest jersey. Again, this is the women's kit. I don't really care. Look at that. So clean. So clean. So, anyways, getting back into it. I got Sunderland at 17 here. I do think it's a little harsh on them, given that they've overachieved and gotten to Europe. But really, super quiet window, congested schedule. I just see them really kind of tripping over their own feet. Maybe, I mean, if they punt, I mean, they're not going to punt on Europe, but I think it's in their best interest to punt on Europe, right? Because, as you can imagine, you know, if you're going to be playing twice a week, and what I mean by punting on Europe, some of these teams qualify for European tournaments, guys. And so, you know, for example, Chelsea's not in a European tournament, so they're only going to play once a week. If you only play once a week, you get a lot more rest. It's a lot more chill on your body. Now, Sunderland, they've qualified for Europe, so in a lot of times throughout the season, they'll be playing twice a week. Now, if they don't make it into the knockout rounds of those different tournaments, then okay, maybe that it won't be as bad on them. But I just see a lot of regression coming from them and a lot of overachievement, really, from the previous season. And then at 16, we got Leeds United. Love what they did with bringing in Trafford for $40 million. And Harry Wilson on the free. I think Harry Wilson was really carrying Fulham last year in a lot of ways. I like what they're doing. Second season back in the Prem. You know, Farke should keep them safe, but this team could easily just drop out. Like if Coventry City really plays really well, or if Switchtown or any, you know, I don't think it'll be whole city, but let's say they do, Leeds could really drop out of this really easily, really quickly. So interesting to say the least. I'm gonna put them at 16, just to give them slightly that staying up, but you know, most likely might go down, but most likely staying up is what I would say. Next on the list, we got Brentford coming in at 15. Big additions, key adds for them are Singari. They paid £38 million for him. They also brought in Callum Wilson on the free, and then Anthony for $17 million. They lost Henderson, but I mean he broke his arm or wrist during the World Cup, so it's not like he would have played anyways, or maybe he will. I don't know actually. There's a chance that he could play. Probably will. It's just his wrist. But you know you lose your coach in. Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll stop for a second. I thought we were talking about Fulham. But actually, no, we're talking about Brentford. They did lose their coach too. They got a new coach coming in. So I mean, bottom of the table team for me. I don't really see them doing too much. But we'll see. I mean, the squad's a little thinner. They lost that captainness that you get from Henderson. But we'll see. And then Fulham, next on the list, 14th. Like I said earlier, really feel Harry Wilson was carrying this team in a lot of ways. He scored so many clutch goals for them. On top of that, you got Raul Jimenez who left. So this is why I got these guys, you know, bottom of the table, near the bottom of the table. And on top of that, they lost their super, you know, they lost a really strong quality coach. So you got the stability from Silva gone, and untested boss and Arbiola. I just see them as, again, this is another team that very easily could just kind of fall out of it. And, you know, this is why I got them bottom of the table. Next on the list, I got Nottingham Forest. Glasner is a quality coach. They lost Elliot Anderson, cashed in on him. Just a light reinvestment. They brought in the other Diamande, not the one that went to. I gotta mute my shit, guys. Sorry. Diamande and Schlager coming in. I put Nottingham Forest potentially going down on my other feed. I still think they're probably mid-table team. 13 seems about right for them. Great fan base. Obviously, they cashed in on Anderson. reinvested, similar to what I think Villa did with Grealish back in the day. Oh, shit. What did I just do? Okay, we're good. Anyways, next on the list, Crystal Palace. They obviously lost their coach last year. They lost LaCroix. LaCroix went to Chelsea for $52 million. They bring in Tomiyasu. They swap in McNeil after a good World Cup. Conference winners. Glasner left. I mean, I just see them as they're in the regression territory. Anybody that's in that 10 or below really hasn't done much this window for whatever reason. It could be financial reasons. It could be, I don't know, they don't see that they can compete in certain areas. I'm not entirely sure. And don't get me wrong, we still got, call it 17 days of this transfer window. We still have a winter transfer window. A lot of these teams spent a lot of money last season. So it could very well be just a lot of teams are in the wait and see. Or we also could just be a lot of teams are sitting here trying to decide what they're going to do in the last minute. So this all could change really quickly. But I'm going off of where the current transfer market is right now. I honestly, Barcola going into Liverpool, Rodri leaving City, those type of things will really move this around very heavily in my opinion. So next on the list, we got Bournemouth. They lost their great coach to Liverpool and Areola. They also lost Senesi and Traore. But they bring in Rose. I think he'll kind of steady the ship for them. Bournemouth is obviously a really great team. And we Arsenal fans owe Bournemouth our life. They bring in Antonio Silva for $21 million, Alvaro Rodriguez for $21 million. So spending a little bit, lost a little bit. Big thing is they lost their coach. Interesting to see where they end up, but I think 11th mid-table for them is pretty fair. Brighton next on the list. Big addition's going to be Johanna for $21 million, but they lost Van Hickel for $52 and Vuskovic for $46 million and Welbeck. So a lot of players going out to London, Van Hickel and Welbeck, specifically Chelsea and Tottenham. So really great team, and obviously Krupi got hurt too, so your young talent might not be there. It's going to be a rough start for them, to say the least. I'm putting them, I think 10 for them is really fair. They're a reliable mid-table machine. They're always pretty competitive, to say the least. So, in my opinion, I think they're in a good spot, or they'll be in a good spot to at least stay mid-table. And then getting into the top of the table, 9 through 1, we got Everton coming at 9. They lost Gay, they lost McNeil and Coleman. Kind of busy, sensible window, if you will, because they bring in Hackney, they bring in George and Roll. So kind of moving things around, but not in a way that you'd expect the team to really make a jump. But Everton's always just a good squad. They're very strong. They've obviously Jordan Pickford is their keeper, really strong keeper in the league. I don't see them making too much noise outside of that, being a mid-table team. Probably a couple key wins and things like that throughout the season, but nothing too crazy. Next on the list, I got Newcastle United. I think both Newcastle and Villa are going to surprise people. I got Newcastle at 8. I think there's probably Newcastle fans that would say there's no chance this happens, and I think there's probably a lot of Prem fans that will say that this is ridiculous to have them here. But I actually think them going to playing once a week, having a fresh face in the locker room or in the training room to lead the boys. Obviously, the big losses for them. I mean, their big three basically left. Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal, Tonali to Tottenham, and then you had Gordon going to Barcelona. In the realm of about £250 million. But they have a solid spine of players, and they also went and brought in some really quality. Torre is really good, Bamba's good, Stewart's good. Spent money economically, sold their players that wanted out, or I guess sort of wanted out. I know Anthony Gordon didn't necessarily want out. He just had a childhood dream to live in Barcelona. I mean, he taught himself Spanish for crying out loud, so you can't really hate him for that. Excuse me. And then Tonali, I mean, I think they did a great job selling Tonali for both Tonali and Bruno. I mean, they're kind of in sell high scenarios. I think Tonali's 30, right? Let me double check that. Tonali is not 30. I don't know why I thought that. He's 26 years old. So I guess not. I guess that's why they paid up to 100 mil. But I pretty optimistic that Newcastle will be able to turn something on here. We'll see what happens there. And then coming in at 7, I got Tottenham. These are the big spenders. I made the joke on my other video that they spent all this money to move up to 16. You know, back-to-back seasons in the relegation battle. Well, not really. I mean, back-to-back seasons at 17. One season really in the relegation battle. They weren't. The season before that wasn't really much of a issue for them. They were just the worst of the best 17, right? But bringing in Tonali, I actually think, you know, Tonali, 100 mil, I think the better gets are Mateus Fernandes from West Ham. Really, really great, strong mid. And then Van Hack for 52 million. Both very, very good. But they also, I think it's yet to be fully verified. They lost Jed Spence, right? They lost Vuskovic, Busama, Solomon. And then they bring in a new coach in Desarbi. I'm thinking this is going to be a big bounce back year for them. I mean, we'll see, obviously. We'll see what that amounts to, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Tottenham, they spent all the money and they've done all the right things if you're a team that was fighting relegation and you want to try and truly compete, but they have not done anything since Kane and Son left. And, you know, you got to feel for their fans. That's what I'll say. You got to feel for their fans. So coming in to 6th here, conference playoff, who I would say would get into the conference playoff would be Aston Villa. I spoke about them not too long ago, but similar to Newcastle, really, they kind of got gutted, to say the least. So they lost Morgan Rogers for 117 mil. They lost Tielemans for 40 mil, and then they lost Malen. I don't think they actually sold Malen. I can't remember, but they're coming off a Europa win, major European trophy winner. You know, Arsenal can't say that, but bringing in Manzambi for 51 million, bringing in João Gomez for 34 million, and some reason bringing in Garnacho. I don't know why they did that. Garnacho fucking sucks, but I love Villa. I love Unai Emery, obviously. I think he kind of got the shit end of his stick at Arsenal. But really has these boys firing. And I think they're going to do... I think they're going to surprise some people, both in the Champions League and in the EPL, in my opinion. Next on the list, we got Liverpool coming in 5th. Again, this could change. I think them bringing in a Barcola would be pretty big for them and could easily move them into the top 3, potentially competing for the championship. I still think Areola coming in from Bournemouth, he has a very unique style of play that requires a lot of effort. And so when you have Liverpool playing in Europe and you have to, again, going back to that twice a week playing thing, you run into burning your guys out. Right, so they bring in Victor Muniz, they bring in Araujo on a loan from Barca, Jaquet for 55 million, but they lose Salah, they lose Konate, they lose Robertson. I know Robertson wasn't playing last season, but you know, obviously losing Salah, and you know, you have sounds like they might want to try and move on from Cody Gakpo as well. So pretty kind of in this like transition phase, but also at the same time trying to compete. It'd be interesting to see where they end up. I think 5 is really fair for them. But again, Barcola coming in on the left side, selling Gakpo. There's a lot of time left in this window to see if they actually can turn it into something. But next on the list, my top 4 for the Champions League qualification are Man United, Chelsea, Man City, and Arsenal in that order as it currently stands. I think if Man City genuinely lose Rodri in addition to Bernardo Silva and Stonesy, obviously, I think they're going to struggle to some degree. Now, they brought in Elliot Anderson for $116 million. That's a good stopgap solution for Rodri, but at the same time, I think they're selling reindeers. If they get rid of Rodri, they got rid of Bernardo, and then the big thing is you got rid of Pep. This could really change really quickly. So we'll see. Keep an eye on Rodri. I think if Rodri goes for real, I do think you can actually see them slipping out of the top 4. I do think there's going to be a lot of pressure from a lot of these players to succeed without Pep. And we'll see. I mean, they obviously have Semenyo. They obviously have Haaland. They obviously have Jeremy Doku and Phil Foden and Cherokee. And, the team is fucking loaded. So it's a much ado about nothing. And, they have a great back line and Nico Riley and Mark Gay. And so they got a really solid squad, to say the least. So maybe like I said, a much ado about nothing. But top 4 easy for them. Could slip down to 4 if you do see Rodri go. And then the big one is that they bring in Enzo Fernandez. Obviously, that's Maresca's guy at Chelsea. I could see them maybe turning some things up a little bit with Enzo in that team with Elliot Anderson. So we'll keep an eye on that. At 4, though, we have Man United. I think they got to do more in this window. They sold Højlund. They lost Casemiro and Sancho. They bring in Santos and Tielemans. But, again, going to the twice-a-week thing, they're going to be playing twice a week this year. I think they need to find more depth. I think a lot of United fans would feel that way. And I think it's fair to say that, any level of... You need depth to compete in Europe or to continue to compete in Europe and your country league. So, really interesting one to watch. Man United, obviously they still have Bruno Fernandes running the show. They have Mbomo. They got a really deep squad and could see them doing really well. And I think a midfield of Tielemans, Santos, you got Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. You got a lot of good bodies in there that can rotate in and out and play different roles. So I think you do see them playing pretty well this season. But remains to be seen. I think you guys see a little more of them out of this window, and I think a lot of United fans would agree with that. And then third, I have Chelsea. I think Chelsea could surprise some people this year. Obviously, bringing in Morgan Rogers for £117 million, a British record. I think that was a bit of an overpay, but that's just because I thought at Arsenal we were going to get him for $80 million. LaCroix coming in as well for $52 million and Palestra for $47, but they lose Coqueré in the process. They lose Andre Santos and Chalaba in the process. So we'll see big spenders, but then they bring in Xabi Alonso. I think you're going to see a big rebound from their 10th place finish last year. Could see them top 3, hopefully competing for a championship. We'll see. And then last but not least, I got Arsenal going back-to-back. I think that's really fair, honestly. It's hard to look at what this team is putting on paper at the current moment and not think that they're the best team in the league. On top of that, they bring in Bruno Guimaraes. They officially signed Nkape, and then they bring in Christos Zolas, who I've talked about. I think is going to be a very impactful player down the road. I've predicted that he'll have 20 goal involvements, which for a winger would be pretty good, especially if you're sharing your time. But big key transfers, obviously Trossard leaving is a big one, but I think Zolas replaces him really well. Kjær left as well and officially, and so did Norgard, but kind of not too much there. Nothing to worry about with losing those. So really, it's their title to lose, their title to defend, in my opinion. And plus, you got rumors that maybe Barcola could be coming too. And you throw all those things in there, and maybe Ezri Konsa. They're really loading up for what seems to be a repeat season and competing in Champions League and hopefully taking home both the Premier League title and the Champions League title this year, and maybe even winning a treble or being the first team to win a quad. So we'll see. But that's where I got everybody right now. I think it's an exciting time to be a Premier League fan, to say the least. You got a lot of uncertainty of where things are going to line up. I mean, I did this 1 through 20, but I can move, and you could pick any one of these teams and convince me a different spot really easily. I mean, outside of like City and Arsenal, I would say City and Arsenal are guaranteed in that top 4. Outside of that, the rest is interchangeable. So let me know what you think in the comments. Where am I off? Where am I on? Am I crazy to be thinking that Arsenal are going to go back to back? Is Man City going to be better than I'm suggesting? Is Villa and Newcastle going to fall off a cliff, and I'm actually crazy for thinking that they may actually be better this year? Who knows? Let me know what you think. But let's get into our next topic, which is... Oh, man, I'm way behind. Sorry. Our next topic I want to jump on real quick. Let me get my runner show up. So I want to make a little comment on the Arsenal youngsters, or just talk about them, because I want to give Hale and their moment, right? I spoke about it earlier, but Bukayo Saka came up through Hale End since he was 8 years old. And for those that don't know, Hale End is the academy that Arsenal, that's part of the Arsenal. And basically they have this pipeline coming up of very strong quality players, and Miles Lewis-Skelly, Ethan Nwaneri, and Salmon and Maxi Dauman. They really have this incredible, whatever they're put in the water, there must be, I don't know. It's actually insane. So a couple clips from yesterday just to give you guys a little shit. What am I doing here? But Ethan Nwaneri, I mean, he's the most likely one to probably be out. I think I've heard that there's a good chance that he gets sold. He got loaned to Marseille last year, and it just didn't go very well. And then this is my new favorite player right here, Miles Lewis-Skelly. Talked about it at length. I just think if we would have brought him for the World Cup, he would have been so perfect as like a central holding mid like that. And then right here, this is like the new star boy on the block, Maxi Dauman. Incredible talent, only 16 years old, right? He's a chance. I mean, he draws a pen there, but there's a chance that, actually, I don't know if he did draw a pen there, but there's a chance this is like England's next, like their version of Lamine Yamal. I know obviously Lamine is a different level, and he by the time he was 19, I think he'd won. Yeah, he's 19 now, so he's won La Liga, he's won the Euros, and he's won the World Cup. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Max Dauman's going to be the next Lamine Yamal, but he is really fun to watch and could be a really high-quality piece, and the Arsenal youngsters are really just something to behold. And then this guy right here, Marley Salmon, 16 years old, as a center back. I actually think Marley Salmon plays... I mean, obviously, William Saliba for Arsenal is hurt after the World Cup. But this is a 16-year-old, guys. Playing up, strong defense. I think you're going to see him playing next to Gabriel quite a bit. Very offensively gifted, too. Like, he's not just like clear the ball and get it out. Look at this move. See, looks over his shoulder. I mean, that move right there, this is just a veteran move. Look at, he checks his shoulder, sees him. Boom. This is a 16-year-old doing this. So if you're worried about the England national team's defense at the next World Cup, well, if this kid keeps progressing in the way that he does, I mean, we will have one of the best center backs in the league. So in the same vein that Koulibaly was for Spain as a 19-year-old, I think Marley Salmon as a 20-year-old might actually be one of the best center backs in the world. But look at that move. Like, offensively gifted, progresses the ball forward. So shout out Hale End. I wanted to do a quick little segment on them because Miles Lewis-Skelly was coming into the news. You had United fans wanting to buy him. You have Chelsea fans wanting to buy him. And the reality is, like, it's, Arteta talked about it. It's really nice to have other teams wanting to buy your players. Obviously, it means that they're doing something right. But it also it goes to show the quality that we're bringing in through the youth. Like, you look at a team like Man City, like, don't get me wrong, Nico O'Reilly's very good, and he came through their academy. But the rest of their team was purchased. They bought their team, right? I guess Phil Foden, no. But the rest of their team is purchased, right? So same thing with Liverpool in a lot of ways. Same things with United. I get, they got Mount and a couple of these other guys. But the reality is, like, there's not a team that's competing at the level that Arsenal is right now that is using as many as their academy kids as they are, right? Full stop. So it's just really cool to see. I really think Miles Lewis-Skelly will have an insane season. I think he will grow into a central controlling mid that will be the starter for England long term. I think it's a perfect. You got Bruno and you got Ricey boy, both of them kind of at the end, towards the end of their peak, like in their peak, but getting towards the end of it. So 3-4 years removed from now, MLS at 23, 24 years old, he's going to be one of the best midfielders in the world. So great to see the product coming out at Hale End. I love to see it. I really would. I know Ethan Waneri should probably be sold just to get him minutes, because I just don't think he's going to get into this team with Bruno and Martin Odegaard, and the kid is so damn talented. And you saw it in not this video, the other video. You can just see it in just the way he controls the ball, and the goal that they got yesterday was a direct impact off of one of his tackles. So I mean, quality stuff out of Hale End, to say the least. So let's get into our next topic of discussion. We got a couple Love Island rejects talking about the MLS. So let's let it play.
You here to watch an MLS game? It's the lowest level I've ever seen in my life.
Hold on, that audio's not that good, huh?
Soccer that bad, even in third division in Italy.
Take it from top.
So we're here to watch an MLS game. It's the lowest level I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a soccer that bad, even in third division in Italy. I don't know why people pay for the tickets. It's shit. Like, we play for college as well, and the level is way better. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, the fuck?
To be fair to the Love Island rejects, not actual Love Island rejects, they just look like they might be. Yeah, the regular season in MLS is boring. This is why everybody and their mother wants relegation and promotion in an MLS. It's never going to happen because of the ownerships and how it's constructed. And now the commissioner is a former owner, and so he's definitely going to protect the owners even more. But the reality is, if you look at the MLS and you go to a regular season game, they're pretty boring. There's not, and like going back to like the whole Premier League thing, the Prem is so, oh shit, I'm blasting music now, aren't I? There we go. That's much better. Now going back to the Prem thing, like the Prem's so great is because you have 38 games and every single game matters. With MLS, top 9 teams per division or conference, what are they have the East and the West, get to the playoffs. So like a team like Inter Miami, who's number 1 overall, number 2 overall in the East, like there's not like that level of intensity where every game matters, like they'll put butts in seats because they got Messi, and Orlando will put butts in seats because they got Griezmann, and they're trying to fight to make the playoffs. But really the only games that matter are like that, 9, 10, 11, 12 seed towards the end of the season, because they're trying to make it into the playoffs. Now, that said, the playoffs are really great. You get a chance to go to the playoffs in the MLS, give it a chance, because from what I understand, they're very intense. They're really cool. I've been to Orlando City games. They can get the same level of intensity that you want to get out of these footy matches. Now, if it's a regular season game, I wouldn't expect to see the level of quality of play that you're going to get in these other leagues. So, I can't blame these guys for thinking it's quality shit. Saying it's college level is probably a little egregious. It's just because these games are glorified friendlies. Let's just be real. All right, let's get into some football. I meant to do a whole next topic thing, so let's just do it. Fuck it. Stop. Is that playing? That was that. My transition didn't play the music. Well, I meant to do a whole next topic thing, so let's just do it. What's that? I don't know. I'm confused, guys. I'm confused. I don't know why my transition didn't play. But getting into some football, American football that is, we got some cool shit coming up. We really are in kind of like the dog days of August. So week from now, we'll actually have some cool shit to talk about with the Prem. We'll be mostly a Prem podcast. But got to talk about my Chicago Bears, my future Indiana Bears. Now, listen, when this first broke last night, there was a guy on Twitter telling about how part of the deal and the incentive structure from Indiana means that the Bears are going to be called the Indiana Bears. Thankfully, and for just to give everybody the backdrop on it all, the Bears need a new stadium. Why do they need a new stadium? Well, they have the smallest stadium in the NFL. 62,000 seats around there. And because of that, you have the most expensive ticket to go to a game in the NFL because, supply and demand economics, right? And so Bears need a new stadium for a variety of reasons. The main one being that they don't actually own their own stadium. They lease the stadium from the city every year. So they have no revenue to be made off of. And what happens is with a lot of these teams is the bulk of their revenue is going to be made through not just butts and seats, but concerts, actually. Butts and seats when their team isn't playing. Because, look, there's only 9 days a year that you can use that stadium, right? And if you don't go to the playoffs. If you go to the playoffs, there's, you have a chance to have, up to, 12. But there's 53 other days in the year. 300. Yeah, 300. Sorry. Can't do math live like that. So what these teams need is a way to monetize their stadium. Well, the city of Chicago monetizes the fuck out of that stadium because they do concerts in there all the time. So you'll see, and going back to the Prem, the reason why Tottenham can spend as much as they can is because they built a state-of-the-art stadium that has a field that literally opens up and brings up a different field and puts the grass field underneath and keeps it manicured and managed, and then has a plastic top or concrete top for when they have a concert. So, you see Tottenham go and spend $250 million this offseason. Well, the reason why that is because, or 250 million pounds rather, is because they make all this money off concerts and they can't. Now, the NFL doesn't necessarily work like that. Don't get me wrong. The salary cap's determined by, the CBA and the revenue split agreed to between the Players Association and the league. But there's obviously ways that you can make your team more lucrative and more money, and you can reinvest that money into your fans and your teams and do other things that, you might not have been able to before. So that's why the Bears need a new stadium. It got rumored that they're gonna be changing to the name of the Indiana Bears. I literally would have freaked the fuck out if that happened. I'm not kidding. I actually would have freaked out. So shout out George McCaskey. He came out today and said this.
No, we will be the Chicago Bears whether we're in Arlington.
Why is my audio so fucked?
And as Kevin said,
They'd be the Hammond Bears.
no, we will be the Chicago Bears whether we're in Arlington or whether we're in Hammond. And as Kevin said, our focus is on Hammond. That's where we're advancing our efforts, and that's where the bulk of our time, attention, and resources are being devoted.
So thankfully, he came out and said that, fuck off. We're not changing our name. I think that would have... I don't think there's any person that in Chicago would have been okay with that. So thankfully, they made the right choice. But let's get into some other the NFL stuff. We are in the dog days, boys. We are in the dog days. And I'll tell you why we're in the dog days, or how we're in the dog days. That's not working. Is because we got our biggest story is literally that we should fire the Eagles intern who posted this video, because you literally had Jalen Hurts with no pressure, mind you, just throwing a pick. And not even this is like an underthrow. Such an underthrow. Like, so naturally, you got everybody on the internet freaking out about how Jalen Hurts sucks. I saw somebody post that they posted Josh Allen also getting picked off. I mean, personally, I think this is just where we're at in the calendar. We got nothing to talk about. So we got people talking about fucking Jalen Hurts throwing picks. That's all we got. Additionally, we got some bad news from my Chicago Bears. We reported on it last week. Kobe Bryant, Charles would like to say hi, so that's why you guys heard that. Kobe Bryant will be out for 4 to 6 months, though the marquee signing for the Chicago Bears this offseason was Kobe Bryant, and now it was rumored like you shouldn't be able to do this, but it came out that he was going to only be out for 8 to 10 weeks after he had like a hyperextension, and then the next thing I hear next week is that he's getting surgery, and now he's going to be out 6 months, and there's a chance that he doesn't even make it back for the playoffs, and it's like, great, glad we spent all this money on this guy and used up that cap space for a Super Bowl winning defensive back in order for him to just get hurt in like the second day of training camp. Now, that said, shout out Ben Johnson. He's straight up just he's being a gangster and talking about how they're going to score 1 billion points. Now, this could also just like completely backfire, but from what I've heard, Caleb Williams has looked really, really strong in camp, and I believe in these guys. I believe in this team. And I think you're going to see a lot of fun football out of the Bears this season. So, getting into our next topic, almost was. Is that what that is? Really strong in camp, and I believe in these guys. I believe in this team, and I think you're going to see a lot of fun. I don't know if that worked or not, but we'll see. But getting into our next topic, we got a PR 101 for our boy Jaden Daniels. So it was reported today that Jaden Daniels reached out to his former. Oh my gosh, I don't know, you can see my thing like that. Reached out to his former team. Sorry, I've got such bad ADD with that shit. Reached out to his former college team, his Heisman-winning college team, LSU, with a cease and he didn't even reach out. He just sent a cease and desist to not use number 5, which was the number that Jaden Daniels was in college. Obviously, we're going to give you a PR 101 here. If you listen, hear me out here for a second. If you want your previous team to not use your number, the best way to go about that is to send a cease and desist and make it a legal matter. I'm telling you right now. And then also in that process, I think the next best thing you do is you talk about the quarterback that went 13-0 and won that same school championship, even though you didn't, and blame the treatment of him versus you as like this, like as the reason why this is going down. It's PR 101. That's the best way to handle it. Jokes aside, Jaden Daniels, I mean, what are you doing? You gotta like, I know his mom's his agent, and his mom probably has a legal team, and they probably got someone in their ear. But now he's going on, and he's gone and requested the trophy back. So look at this tweet. The LSU from Matt Moscana, at Matt Moscana, the LSU Jaden Daniels saga takes another strange turn. Sources confirm Daniels camp wants LSU to return its copy of the Heisman Trophy. So for those that don't know, whenever you win the Heisman, typically it stays on campus. Sometimes I think there's 2 trophies, one that stays on campus and one that goes with you. I think in this case, there is only 1 trophy. And so its copy of Heisman kind of messes with me a little there, but something LSU has no intention of doing. Daniels contacted LSU leadership before fall camp. Lane Kiffin has personally spoken to Daniels, and then you have Lane coming out and saying this. Let me pause the music, turn this up, give you guys actual good volume.
DJ is in 5, and that was a situation that was promised to him in recruiting here for him to sign here. And I've done a lot of research on that with the family and the representatives and the people, and So really, I looked at it, I didn't have a decision to make. It was promised to the kid. It wasn't done for whatever. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to judge something that I wasn't here of. But when a kid's promised something to come to school, he should wear it. And so at that point, I don't really think that's my decision. You know, he should be honored what he was told. And so that's what I know.
So you gotta, and then obviously the kid comes out, and the kid that's gonna be wearing number 5 comes out and says, "Hey, like, I'm wearing this number. I was promised this number." So I do think this is, again, we're kind of in the dog days of August. This is one of those calendar stories that is not really that much of a story, to say the least, but we're talking about it. And then you got Jaden right before this episode dropped. Actually, he says, "I have been locked in on training camp, and that's been my number one focus. I have a lot of gratitude for my time at LSU, and I'm proud of what my teammates and I accomplished there. Obviously, there are issues to be worked out between my team and LSU, and my hope is that it will get done privately. My sole personal focus is on Commanders football. I realize the business of football is unique, and I trust this can all be resolved." Jaden, why don't you just not cease and desist the team that, like, was... Getting your jersey retired is an honor. Like, you gotta earn that honor. You don't, like, legally force your way into that honor. You gotta be like Shador Sanders and go like 8-7 and have your dad, you know, get you honored. Like, that's how you get, you know, your jersey retired. You don't win the Heisman and then 4 years later send a cease, or 3, I don't know how many years it's been. 3 years later send a cease and desist letter. No. You gotta let it happen naturally, right? Like, I can't, like, this, and he didn't even win anything there. He won a Heisman. It's a personal accolade. Like, if you won the championship and they retired your jersey, yes, obviously send a cease and desist, because guess what? They've not followed through with their promise in that scenario. But in this specific scenario, they have. There's no promises that have been made, and you need to work through the, like, how this happens. Like, you have to earn this thing. You can't just be given it. So fuck off, Jaden. That's all I'll say. Fuck off. Let me turn this down a little bit. All right, that's good. We got 30 dBs. Yeah, we good. I just gotta make sure I'm talking to the mic. A little bit down. Cool. Y'all think I'm really not real, huh? TikTok is, like, convinced that I just run videos of my old feeds, even though there's a live clock on there. Harassment and bullying. Live visibility not eligible. Who was I bullying? I don't know. I mean, I swear, every different TikTok stream that we do, we always have. I get taken down for, like, bullying, harassment, hate speech. I got taken down for being too sexual for some reason. Like, they're going through the list of, like, different things that they need to do to take me down off of TikTok. But whatever. We're not going to be featured on TikTok. You know, I'm actually, fuck TikTok. I'm taking it down. That's what you get, bitches. This is what you get. You wanted me live? Well, guess what? Now we're only live on the 3 other platforms. Can't stand that shit. Anyways, let's get into the next topic. The Field of Dreams is tonight, and it might actually not be tonight based on this video. So we'll see. But for those that don't know, The Field of Dreams is obviously an iconic baseball movie. Anybody that played baseball at any time in their life has seen that movie. The cornfields, and the players come out of the cornfields. The whole build it. If you build it, they will come. If you've never seen the movie, go see it. It's amazing, especially if you're a baseball fan. But MLB's done something really cool, and they built the stadium in a way that is actually accommodating to MLB players, and now they do an MLB game there every season. It's on Netflix tonight. You know my feelings about Netflix handling sports, but Phillies versus Twins should be a good game. Pretty cool, to say the least. And then next on the list, we got Braggies. I mean, the Cubs have just been on fire, guys. And Bregman last night is the pinnacle of it all. Look at this. Look at these bombs. He went 5 plate appearances, 2 walks, 3 home runs. The guy has just been on an absolute tear. To give you some additional numbers for him, in the last 26 games, so since July 11th, he's had 9 home runs, 27 runs, 26 RBIs, 18 extra base hits, 71 total bases, and basically the Cubs are rolling. Like, not only that, Swanson's starting to hit well. Happ hit a couple home runs. You got Suzuki is dialed in. He's over 20 home runs. And then last but not least, Pete Crow Armstrong continues to churn out game after game, big wins, big performances. You really love to see it. So shout out the Cubbies. I think 3 games back of the Brewers at this point. Man, they are in a spot where they could do this thing. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Especially with the moves at the deadline, especially if Pete keeps playing the way he's playing. It seems like he's going to do that. I think the Cubbies could win the World Series really easily this season. So, you heard it here first. Oh, shit. I'm getting ahead of myself. The NBA schedule dropped. So, let me go pull this up. Orlando Magic schedule. Actually, I'm just going to do this live. I'm sure there's a bunch of shit in here that people are already talking about. Let's see what the big ones are. All right. Here we go. Schedule by team. Let's get into it. Oh my God, this is why I like to prepare before, guys. I'm just going to do my Magic because I'm not going to go through all these different games. Maybe we'll do a proper breakdown of it. But I got to do my Magic. Let's check it out. Opening the season up with Atlanta on the 21st of December. Okay. Not too bad. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nationally televised broadcasts. That's right. It's like exactly where I expected them to be, honestly. I was thinking 9, but 8 feels pretty fair given how we performed and the changes that we obviously have with Philly. I think Philly's going to be on, look, anytime we play Philly, I bet you it's national broadcast. So if there's Peacock, actually not on that one. Let's see. Atlanta? Interesting. Indiana. You can always tell that they're going to think if you're going to be a good team or not simply because they give you end of season primetime, right? Like giving us at Miami, at Atlanta, basically all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our primetime games are all after March 10th. So good feelings around how the association feels about us, at least. Obviously, if we had none of these, like it would be like, okay, maybe we're not going to be that good. But I think with Sean Sweeney coming in, good little team. Should we do like a little win-loss thing? No, there's too many games. I do think we're going to dominate in the NBA Cup. The group is just bogus. Toronto, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Detroit. I mean, Detroit's the only good one in there, right? So, I mean, that will be the tough one, but we play Detroit at home Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I guess that's kind of a bitch, right? Friday in Brooklyn, Sunday in Washington, Tuesday at Detroit or in Orlando. Not the best of what you'd want going into your last game and like the deciding game, but I'm okay with it. At New York on the 25th December. Any games that I for sure can go to? Let's see. What are the big ones? So Philly at home is the 14th. That should be a good one. They always give us this because Florida and Orlando specifically is what they call it, snowbird state. So usually we get like good games right through here. And as I say that, look at this: Sacramento, Charlotte, Toronto, Milwaukee. So maybe not. Maybe they're not giving us good games through Christmas time this year. And then Charlotte, they give us the worst games during Christmas. Okay, I guess. Hey, shout out the NBA. I usually feel bad traveling during Christmas because the games are so good. But hey, they gave us crap this year, so that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the season. We'll do a proper breakdown on all of it sooner or later. But let's get into the rest of the show. We got Brody retiring Russell Westbrook. We did a video on it yesterday, but just wanted to give the man a shout out. Obviously, the new thing on Twitter today is to be like, how are you appreciating Russell Westbrook when you didn't like him when he was in the league or when you called him Westbrook or whatever? Dude, shut the fuck up. Like, please, anybody that's like, why didn't you like him when he, like, guys, it's the fucking internet. Nobody on the internet likes anybody. Like, why are we actually caring about people now appraising him? Like, they're giving him his flowers. Let him have his flowers. Like, it's insane to me that you got people that are actually upset that they're praising him. Like, and I get it. You'll say, "Oh, I'm not upset that they're praising him. I'm upset that they didn't praise him before." Well, no, guys, this is how the internet works. All right, we're obsessed with the number 5. If you're a 10, we bring you down. If you're a 1, we bring you up. Anything in between, that goes back and forth. If you're too high, you go down. If you're too low, you come up. This is the same reason Tiger Woods is a perfect example. When he was at the top of his game, what did? They took him down, right? Not necessarily it was his own fault, but they took him down. And then when he was at the bottom of the barrel, when he was a 1 out of 10, what did they do? They brought him up and they celebrated him when he won the Masters. So stop the bullshit. Like, let's make jokes if we make jokes, and let's praise people when we want to praise people. I hate this notion that everybody is getting up in a bunch about Brody and whether or not you talk shit about him and whether or not you should give him praise. No, like, let the man get his praise. And I'll tell you why. 18 seasons. 18 seasons. I don't know how many motherfucking people have played 18 seasons in the NBA, but it's not many. He's an MVP, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2 scoring titles, 3 assist titles. The 75th anniversary team, again, I don't think that's really much of a thing, but whatever. An Olympic gold. He has 209 career triple-doubles. He is the most in NBA history, passing Oscar Robertson at 181. Although I think Jokic is at like 193 or something. So I don't think... So I'd imagine that probably gets broke. Who knows, though? Jokic's talking about like playing in Greece after this season. So who knows? But he literally averaged a triple-double for a full season. The season after... 4 separate times, actually. 4 times he did a triple-double, especially the season after, like the revenge tour when KD left, averaged a triple-double, 31.6 points, 10.7 assists, and 10.4 rebounds per game with 42 triple-doubles that season. And a walk-off buzzer beater, too, to boot. So, shout out, Brody. I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer. Number 1 hustle player ever. Not 1-1 overall. I don't think there's anybody that had a bigger heart and more passion that he played with than Russell Westbrook, right? Like, it's one of one, for real. Like, Jalen Suggs is going to be he's got to take over and be the new energy guy in the league. At least I would think he's the next in line. As a Magic fan, I would say that. But, shout out Russ. Shout out, what an incredible career. What an incredible, it's just sad, honestly. It's really sad because we're running out of players that I grew up with, right? I was in high school and what I consider the peak of the NBA. And the peak of the NBA was, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, like that era, right? The KD and James Harden, Russell Westbrook coming up, the big 3 in Miami with Wade and Bosh. Like, I get that part of it is like, your time of your life that, obviously the Magic were good with Dwight Howard and they went to the championship against Kobe and, but it's really sad to think that these guys like KD, Russ, LeBron, the crazy thing is that era that I'm talking about, Steph hadn't even started like playing really yet, or being what Steph Curry is now today. So and Steph is part of that group now too. And so you have Harden, Chris Paul's gone now, Russell Westbrook's gone now, LeBron's probably 2 years away, Steph's probably 2 years away, KD year or 2, who knows? I think KD could be hooping for the rest of his life. He loves it so much, but it's just fucking sad, guys. It's sad to say. But we got some good guys coming up. We got some fun talent to, that maybe some guy that's in high school now can say that this is going to be the peak of the NBA. Maybe that might be true. But in my opinion, that was the peak. That was the pinnacle. And then obviously you had the Steph era against LeBron, and that was in its own way a different type of peak. But in terms of like a bunch of teams competing and like, Paul George, Indiana Pacers, and the LeBron Cavs, and the Dwight Magic, it just was such a great time to be a fucking fan, let me tell you. And then last but not least, we got the Orlando Magic. I just want to touch on this real quick. They did a deal with the Cox Media Group where they will broadcast the games on Channel 27 and Channel 9. Basically, over-air local broadcasts that you do not need to pay for. So if you're a Magic fan, you can genuinely get an antenna, hook your antenna up to your TV, and get Magic games for free. Now, why is this important? Because before this, if you wanted to be a Magic fan, you had to pay $20 a month for some shitty service like Bally Sports or whatever the hell it was called, which had actually gone out of business and been bankrupt, so they had no ads to fill. And so you basically get these like generic basketball and sports sounds as your commercials, and like this like stream delay, and sometimes it'd be like really high quality and sometimes it'd be super low quality. And the reason why that all sucks is because it's just a really bad UX, user experience, right? And so when you flip that to, or in a perspective of a maybe fan, or like a, let's call it a fair weather fan, or even just like, somewhat supportive fan, whatever you want to define them as, in the event that your local team starts being really good, if you make that user jump through 10 hoops to go watch that team, you're just not going to get that viewer. Now you might, but you're going to get fall off through that process. Like anybody that's working user experience knows that you need smooth experiences to maximize the amount of users that watch or engage or download or whatever you want to call it. So the Magic pivoting to a deal with Cox Media Group for WFTV 9 and Channel 27 so that it's free. So like if my mom's scrolling at night and she knows it's just going to be on TV, like it's on her cable TV and it's easy to access. And why is this big? It makes it so the casual fans can be involved. And if the team really does perform in the way that we think they will this year, you're going to have a lot of casual fans wanting to be a part of this and part of this journey, and you make it super easy for them to do so. So I'm a big fan of it, to say the least. Shout out Cox Media Group. Shout out the Magic, because this is about damn time. And they only did a 1-year deal, so that's makes me a little worried, to say the least. But I also think that could be something to do with a bigger picture, like a bigger picture around streaming and everything. And maybe they're working on, their own streaming service or something. I really don't know, or a deal with Amazon, or who knows. But so the 1-year deal does worry me a little bit, but any non-nationally televised game will be fully free to watch, and that's just a really fun thing to do as a Magic fan. So that's all I got for today. I was gonna do a little piece on App 11, but I ain't trying to get fucking sued, so I'm not gonna give I'll read the disclaimer that my lawyer wrote me. Tom personally holds a large App 11 position, the majority of his net worth, with personal history at the company. This is a personal perspective, explicitly, not financial advice, and not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold. Say that plainly before anything else. Well, I'm not supposed to say that part, but I'll say that. But I ain't going to get into it. It ain't worth it for me. I've already made it. I don't need somebody trying to take me down for no reason, but I kind of do want to do it. Should I? Fuck it. Let's do it. I wrote it out. I should do it. All right. We're going to take it from the top. Disclaimer. Legal disclaimer. You know what? I'm going to put it on the screen. So when somebody sees this, they know that it's real and that I ain't fucking around. Sources. Let's do a text source. I'm going to put a disclaimer. Call it disclaimer. Boom. There we go. It's got to be one line like that, really. Alright, guys. It's bad radio, I know, but I need a disclaimer on here so I don't get sued. I don't get sued. There you guys go. Nice little. It's got to be easier to read, right? There you go. There's a little disclaimer for you guys before I do this. So let's read the disclaimer. Tom personally holds a large APP, App 11 position. This is the majority of my net worth, his net worth, what do you want to call it? With personal history at the company. This is a personal perspective, explicitly, not financial advice, and not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold. All right, that being said, this is not going to be no numbers breakdown, not going to be like anything about margins or revenue or any of that shit. You can let some finance retards online fucking do a think piece with Claude and tell you what they think about it, all right? You can go you go search it. There's 1,000 different dudes and AI bots that are writing about this company and talking about margin and revenue and all these things. So that isn't what this is for. I'm not here to say that tell you about that or not. You do your own fucking due diligence, or you have your AI do your due diligence for you, whoever you are. But this is from a perspective from someone who was there at the company super early on, was there at the company through the IPO, and then ran off into the sunset and fucking went and bought a boat, had a midlife crisis, taught himself how to fish, moved to the Keys, did the whole thing, did the sabbatical. Now we're here. Now we're podcasting. But so this is my perspective on just what we went through, right? So again, gonna repeat this. This is my personal experience and opinion, not advice. Put that in all caps. This is not advice. I'm not trying to tell you what to do with yourself. I'm not trying to tell you to sell the stock or buy the stock or anything like that. This is just my personal experience with the executive team. And actually, it's not even the executive team. It's just one person. Really? It's it. It is one person. It is Adam Froge. I'll talk to you about him as an operator just briefly, right? And it's just more about track record than anything. Like one of the best people I've ever met in my life, incredibly intelligent, easily the smartest guy in every room. If you get a chance to meet the guy, talk to him, whatever, or hear anything he's put out there, you should. But that's not what the point I'm trying to make. I do think he is, I think he's the best operator on the S&P 500 right now. Again, personal opinion, not trying to tell you what to do with yourself. But when Adam says something, odds are he does it. That's all I'll say, right? Every time he's outlined a number for us publicly or privately, he's hit it, right? When we first started the company, he said one day we'll be worth $1 billion. Did that. After we did the PE deal, he said one day we'll be worth $10 billion. He did that. Took us public, said we'll be worth $100 billion one day. What happened? Well, the company's a $100 billion company right now. So he's done that. And now he's touting this path to $1 trillion, right? I'm not here to say that he is for sure going to do that. Who knows, right? Only the future will tell us whether or not that happens or not. But what I can tell you as a person that has seen this man's track record, and when he's very motivated, and the reality is, like I said, when I've as a guy that's seen this guy's track record, the best thing that could have happened in this scenario is everybody doubting him. So I'll say, just like the VCs that wouldn't give us any money early on, just like anybody that doubted the company post-IPO, the actual best thing that could have happened for this company, again, personal opinion, not advice, not financial advice, don't fucking sue me, okay, is putting a chip on these guys' shoulders. For real. It's kind of like the Michael Jordan thing, where Michael Jordan had to manifest things towards the end of his career to motivate him to put that chip on his shoulder. No. This is, we didn't even need to make anything up. This is the market doubting this man because he missed revenue by 1%. Again, I'm not gonna get into the numbers. You can do your own little Claude think piece on that if you want. But doubting this team, doubting Rafael Vivas, doubting Adam Froge, or any of the group is the best thing you guys could have ever done. At least in my opinion. So I'm excited to see where this comes. I'm excited to continue following this company. If anybody wants any thoughts or comments on it, feel free to hit me up in the comments or follow along. I don't think I haven't talked about this company at all on this podcast, and also I'm not using my name that I used when I was a professional. I'm using my first name, but I'm not using my last name, and so I don't think really anybody's even discovered me. The fact that I got all these like companies like try to offer me, I'll be honest with you guys, like, if a lot of these like finance companies, they offer me like $1,000 an hour, $850 an hour to like just talk about this company, right? And it's so funny because I always think like if you just did any little fucking research, you could just go get all this shit for free off me on my podcast. Just come ask me questions on my pod. That's what I'll do. I even turned to one of these consulting companies and I've sent them an email back because I kept getting called by them, and I was like, guys, if somebody wants something from me, just tell them to go to my pod twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 3:00 Eastern. You got a question for me, hit me there. That's gonna be way better. So anyways, that's my thoughts on APP. Do what you will with it. Not a financial advice. Please don't try and sue me for no fucking reason. I put my disclaimer there for a fucking reason. But that is our show, guys. Really fun show to say the least. We dog days of August. We got football coming around the corner. We got Prem starting up soon. We got the Community Shield this weekend. So things will pick up quickly here. We're getting through it though. So appreciate the time, everybody. Shout out PSG for winning the Super Cup. Shout out the Prem for coming back next week. Shout out the Bears for not going to they're probably going to Indiana, but at least they're not going to be called the Indiana Bears. Shout out Braggies for the 3 Jacks. Let's see where the Cubbies at right now. I think they're on. 0-0 bottom of second. So where I'm going after this game. I'm going to go watch me some Cubs with my girl, sit on the couch and edit some videos. And then, shout out Russ, man. Rode off into the sunset like a legend, and he is a legend. So, and shout out to Magic, putting us on fucking TV. I appreciate that. But that's our show, guys. We're live twice a week. YouTube, Twitch, X.com, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here next week. I hope to see you there. Appreciate the time, everybody. Peace.
Shit.